Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing fine. We're already Tuesday, and the week is well started. And to be honest with you, I'm in Canada here. Just went outside, to bring my sister to the subway. And man, there's a lot of snow, maybe about this, man. So definitely winter is well underway. It's not that cold yet. Coldest month I think are around February, end of January, something like that. So yeah, we're still good, but there's a lot of snow, pretty slippery outside. Okay, now when I came back from bringing my sister to the subway, I figure, man, you know what? I'm going to go to YouTube and check what's up, and I stumble on this guy video, right? And I'm going to tell you something really. Uh, I didn't want to get involved in what's going on in Cameroon. And actually, I'm not really getting involved. I'm just, you know, telling what I think about it, my point of view. I'm giving my point of view. And I think that this is legitimate. I said something here. I'm for the revolution of the people, by the people, for the people, right? What I'm not for is people lying. I mean, when I say the revolution of the people for the people, I mean, you can use any stratagem you want to try to subvert the people, right? Which is what this guy is doing right now, right? So you can use any stratagem you want to subvert the people. But don't be surprised when someone is looking at it from outside or from inside, right? And he's pointing out your lies and inconsistencies. And that's what I want to do. I already kicked out a video, I think it was yesterday, who's telling you that, right? That I'm for the revolution and that I'm going to agree with whatever position the people are taking. That's what I told you. But what I told you, though, is that I still have my own point of view, right? And my point of view is that I don't like people to shed blood on lies. I don't want people to go out on the street and start a civil war based on bogus lies. So, once this being said, that's what I think that a lot of these influencers that just popped up like mushrooms field are doing. They are antagonizing the situation and they are pushing brothers and sisters to go fight one another on pretext of genocide, ethnic cleansing. Do you understand what this means when somebody is talking about genocide and ethnic cleansing? I mean, you have people from the same family, even my family, who are against the present government. And you have other people in my own family who are for continuity. So you mean to tell me that there could be a genocide? Or you want to tell me that you are propping for civil war? So that brothers and brothers from the same family are killing each other? Are you fucking crazy? You're a fool. That's what I'm saying. You're a fool. But guys, listen. We're going to try to make this a little bit constructive because this is really getting to me. To be honest with you, it's getting to me. Because what I think is that, yeah, things can happen, but make sure that they don't happen for the wrong reason. And that one reason, I want to be the guardian of it, and I want to give my opinion. I want to set my position clear on these type of things. Revolution can happen, but it shouldn't happen for the wrong reason. It should happen for the right reason, organically. That's what I'm saying here. Okay. So now that this being said, I just want us to go and listen to this guy, right? To listen to his monologue about how the army how the army is supposed to be, you know what I mean, how, let's say, the government is taking the weapons from the army, and this and that, and this is strange. This means that they don't trust this or they don't trust that. Is it true? Is it not true? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Let's check it out first, right? And then after that, we'll keep talking about it, because this is very important. I'm telling you again, things can happen, but they need to happen.
Must be smoking.
They need to happen for the right reason. Blood can be shed, right? But that blood needs to happen for the right reason, right? Is it the outcome that we want, that blood be shed, that people be calling for Cameroonian to kill each other? This can happen, but it needs to happen in a certain context. It needs to happen organically, not fomented through lies, again, like I'm saying, or by other nefarious entities, like other countries, like France or the United States, which, to a certain extent, at some point, I have the impression that those guys represent. Okay, so let's go and let's talk about it after. So it's the video lasts about 9 minutes. Yeah, the video lasts 10 minutes, more or less 10 minutes. I want you to be patient and listen to this chump closely. All right, let's go.
Salut à tout le monde. Hello, welcome to another video on Cameroon. Whew. The wind of change is really blowing in Cameroon, and something strange is happening as we speak right now. A lot of the military personnel are being, ethnically profiled. So we got reports coming out of Yaoundé that some military personnel from the north and from the west and from the Anglophone regions, that's the northwest and southwest, are being targeted, and they're taking away their weapons because they are from the north, because they are from the west, and they call them like Bamleke, or they say the northeast, or they say Anglophones, namely from the regions of the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. This is crazy. So you see, now the regime is scared of its own military. Oh my goodness. This tells us that that change movement is hitting up in a positive direction. Because explain to me how a whole president or the whole ministers in power are going to be scared of their own military, and then they're taking away their own weapons. How do you know that the people that you're living with weapons are not the people that are going to come after you?
Well, let me stop right there, right? Because I just want to explain this chump something, right? I mean, maybe he doesn't know his history, but has he ever heard about the coup d'état attempt of 1984, right? That was fomented by, let's say, to a certain extent, the loyalists of Aijo back then, right? They had weapons. They were part of the army, and they were part of the the Praetorian Guards of Cameroon at that time, right? So what this guy even talking about? This is just strategic. The government, in a situation where you have someone who is advocating for civil war, who's advocating for people to go out in the street and kill other brothers, other Cameroonian brothers, is making sure that he is in control of the weapons. That makes total sense. And especially if they feel that behind the scene there are interests, foreign interests, that want to intermingle in Cameroon's business, right? And that can provide support, logistical support, and weapon support to let's say, an opposition that they propped up, that they build, and they want to get ready to launch or to activate whenever they want, right? I mean, there's discourse out there that are pretty inflammatory by Chiroma, right? Like, okay, I give you 48 hours, 48 hours ultimatum to release this. Otherwise, people can do whatever they want to be able to get what they want to get. They want to get. Meaning, at the end of the day, going as far as killing their own brothers. I told you, people in the same family oftentimes don't agree on the same position. Some are for the continuity and some are for the change. What is this guy talking about? Trying to create division and all that stuff. Let's keep going, otherwise I'm going to take too much time, and I'm going to to do the summary even before I reach the end. Man, I'm getting into it. I'm just getting, I just woke up, and this guy just taking a sip of coffee, and this guy is already making my blood boil, bro.
How do you know that the weapons you're taking from those guys, maybe they might be the ones that were thinking of saving you, but now you've taken their weapons away? Who can you trust in this moment in time? Because
Well, who can you trust? I mean, he trusts the people he trusts. And that's why, I guess, I mean, this is something I would even do. I mean, if I feel that there's a certain danger somewhere, I mean, you need to identify and to make sure that you are in control of the state apparatus, and especially the security apparatus that you have to have them under control, under surveillance. It's as simple as that. I don't know. I don't see what's so complicated to understand about that, right?
you cannot say, oh, they're supporting Issa Chiroma Bakari. That's why you're taking their weapons away. This is insane. This shows you how far this regime is willing to go. And this should be a lesson to our brothers in the military, in the army, in the B, and the Gendarmerie International. This is a lesson to you all. We have been saying this for a long time. Do not take instructions from Pobia and his regime. But you guys don't want to listen. When he says, come and kill, you go shoot your brothers and sisters with no remorse.
So this is crazy, guys, because I mean, he's saying do not take instruction from Paul Biya and his regime and all that. I get it. From who do you want to take? And after that, he's saying that do not take instruction from him because he's asking you to go kill your brothers and sisters. In what freaking world this guy is living in, right? In what freaking world is he living in? His own guy, Chioma, gave that ultimatum. It's not Biya who gave that ultimatum. It's his own guy who gave that ultimatum. First of all, asking people to go out in the street and turning those peaceful, the so-called peaceful marches and demonstration in the street into an experience of violence and vandalism in the streets of Yaoundé and Douala and other cities, right? Calling for people to stop working and to stop doing anything for days, right? And lastly, calling for civil war, right? And now he's telling us that the army should be ashamed because they're the ones that are going to, how do you say that they're killing their own, they're going to kill their own brothers and sisters. Your guy, I'm telling your guy, Chiroma, is calling for brothers and sisters to kill themselves. Not even brothers and sisters. And when I say brothers and sisters, I actually don't say it figuratively. I'm saying it the way it is, fact. Like that in the same family, people have different opinion. In the same family, people have different position regarding that matter. So basically, what he's calling about, he's calling for my brother, let's say in my family, to go kill my other brother in my family. Shoot each other. Civil war, not even civil. I mean, this is fratricide. I mean, this is basically what he's talking about. And he thinks that in the army, they are not people that are. When I'm saying in the army, I'm not saying faction of the army against faction of the army. That's not what I'm saying. Although this is already like outrageous because the army is supposed to be one big family, right? But being one big family, so they are brothers and sisters and you're asking them to kill themselves. This can happen, right? But what you're doing even more is that in the family of one of the guy in the army, there are people that are for the continuity and people that are for the change. So you're actually asking him, the guy who is in the army, to go kill his own brother, sister, same father, same mother. That's what you're asking them to do. Because don't get it wrong, because the thing is, guys, if this guy is trying to tell us that there is a clean cleavage between the people who are for Bia or the people who are against him or for Chiroma, this is a lie. This is a lie. If he's trying to tell us that there's a clear cleavage about it, this is a lie. Because people from Chiroma, for Chiroma or against Chiroma, people for Bia or against Bia, are from every walk of life, or from every ethnic, or from every region. Okay, so let's continue.
And at the end of the day, you're going to be the one seeing those nightmares, imagining and thinking.
Of course, they're going to have nightmares if they kill their own brother. What are you talking about here? Of course, they're going to have nightmares because your guy is actually asking them to kill their own brothers. And what you're doing right now is you're asking them to kill their own brother as well. What are you talking about?
Brother, you shot and killed. Why someone is in a 2D having a good night, good bed, enjoying with his family. What you're there having sleepless night, always thinking of the person you shot.
Guys, listen to me very carefully. I want you guys to absolutely stay until the end. I want you guys to stay absolutely after the end of his speech. It's very important.
And kill. You guys gotta be smart and think very, very carefully before you do anything. We keep saying this thing, you guys don't listen. Now they're taking your weapons away. Who knows what is next for you? Because they know you're trained. You're trained. So to them, you're a threat. God forbid they start killing you guys. So it is high time for your own safety and for your own good. You better leave any place, any military barrack, leave that place and join the popular movement. And that popular movement is the movement of change. Change is going to come whether you guys like it or not. So it's high time you join the train. So that way we move Cameroon forward into the right direction, because we have been going backward for too long now. The army should be ashamed of themselves.
So listen, guys, man, I'm fed up of this guy. Seriously, I'm fed up of his bullshit. I'm fed up of his foolishness. I'm fed up of him trying to take people for fools. That's what I'm fed up about, right? And he was going to go again and again ranting about the same thing. The army should take arm, or why did the government remove some weapons stashes and all that. I mean, this makes total sense. They have to take control. They have to be able to control all these apparatus, right? And especially the security one. So they have to make sure that they have control of the weapons. It's as simple as that. And again, like I was saying, they need to make sure that they have it, because especially they know that there are people, that there are powers out there that are behind them. What I want you to do, and this guy seems to forget, like I was saying earlier, the 1984 the 1984 coup. These guys seems to forget that people out there, that maybe just maybe other countries has their say in the situation that a population is living in right now, right? When you're trying to put everything on a certain people, on a certain person, I get it. I get it. They're not free of, how would you say that, of blames. They're not free of that. But when you're trying to put everything on them to try to push a certain agenda, that you know that the same people that didn't help us since the beginning, before all these, the French, the United Kingdom, the Americans, right? And you're trying to push us back to that, then I have a problem with it, right? I'm just going to take the time to tell certain stories here, right? We're talking. Let's talk a little bit about. I just want to talk. Just make a little drift towards the Americans, right? I just want to make a little drift toward the American. So in America, you know that you guys know that there's two parties, right? You got the Democrats and you got the Republican. Okay? Listen to me very carefully. You got the Democrats and you got the Republican. And these guys internally are at war in the same country, in the United States. They are at war with each other. They cannot stand each other. As much as they go as far as sometimes there are killings that are motivated because someone is a Democrat or some people is a Republican. Right? Since the Israel-Palestinian war started, people in that country, in the United States, started to understand that, damn, man, I don't get it. I mean, whether you're Republican or whether you're Democrat, doesn't even matter anymore. Because there is a higher, there is a higher thing, right? Power, there is a higher power that actually control both parties. And that shape up the internal and external policy of that country, and economic policy of that country. To be more precise, the Israeli lobbies, AIPAC, organization like the ADL, and also other American internal lobbies that, but when we're talking about external and internal policies and economic policies, you got the Israeli lobbies that are actually shaping what goes into that country, right? You need to remember something. Republican and Democrats are American first. That's their pretension. They are America first. So they started to understand that, whoa, these guys have a lot of influence and control over our Congress, our politician, that they bribe and that they actually turn against to create and to push laws that basically remove rights for Americans in the profit of another nation, that is Israel. And therefore they started to understand that, hey, man, and listen very carefully, the Americans, they started to understand, hey, man, maybe our fight is not internal, right? Maybe our fight is not Democrat versus Republican, right? When you got another people, another nation, other higher power that are impacting your own nation, your own people, your own economy for the benefit of a nation like Israel. And then they started to say, hey, bruh, let's get together. Let's preserve and save our sovereignty because we are America first. And every decision that should be taken, right? Every decision that should be taken should help the Americans, should benefit the Americans, not someone else. And that's the situation that they're in. They need to protect their country from outside interference first, and then deal with the internal problems that they have. Get this, okay? Deal with the internal problems that they have. These guys want to sell us out. These guys want to let the wolf into the sheep den. These guys want you to kill your brothers, from what I understand. Because like I said, it is really blood brothers against blood brothers. It's not just countrymen against countrymen. It's blood brother against blood brothers. That's where they want to lead you. And to lead you there, they're ready to lie to you. And that's my contention, and that's my opposition, and that's what I'm against. That's what I'm telling you. And that's what is compelling me to create that video. I don't want to create that video. But what I hate most is blood being spilled on lie for the benefit of other nations. Now, maybe you don't want to believe me. Maybe you don't understand what I'm telling you, right? And I'm going to go one step further, because some this guy is asking a lot of questions, right? Example, why the weapons are controlled, and like I saying, maybe he forgot about his history, right? And let's go a little bit down memory lane, my brother. Let's go down memory lane, and let's get out maybe ChatGPT, and we're going to have a little discussion with ChatGPT, a pretty interesting discussion that is going to take us back to memory lanes and try to make some sense, because history, like people say, sometimes repeats itself, and that people have to be students of history to try to understand what might happen next, and that maybe that there is a reason why we want to have people, this government want to have control of the weapons. Maybe, just maybe, there is a reason why they're doing that, right? So let's go down memory lanes. Let's go down memory lanes and chat a little bit with ChatGPT. What is the first question that I ask it? When did the Cameroon coup d'etat attempt against Biya happen? Well, the attempt coup d'etat against Paul Biya happened on 6 April 1984. It unfolded like a storm that never quite broke open. Element of the presidential guard, and again, he's telling us, why are we making sure that there's no confrontation, and that the army doesn't revolt, or we are in control of the weapons. Well, you had an elements of the presidential guards. There is nothing closer, almost nothing closer than the president, maybe his own bodyguards, but this is the body that protect him personally, that should be trusted above all else. And we're talking about 1984. So he wants to tell us that 1984, people were already against Paul Biya because of his politics. Is it what he wants to tell us? Is it what this fool wants to tell us now? Again, I want to put things, I want to be very, very clear. Change, okay, but not for the wrong reason. Not for someone trying to gaslight you, lying to you. wanted to see your blood spilled because he has an agenda that is actually the agenda of outside interest. And we know that is. So the presidential, many of them still loyal to the former president Amadou Ahidjo, launched a surprise attack in Yaoundé. They tried to take control of key sites, including the Unity Palace. For nearly 2 days, the capital felt like a radio tune between stations. Burst of gunfires, sudden silences, and a nation holding its breath. We remember that. We were there. We were already born. We remember that live. We were living history at that time. We didn't learn it from the history book. We saw it happening. We heard it happening. We felt it happening. Biya's forces eventually regained control. The aftermath was grim. Hundreds were killed, many more arrested, and the regime tightened its grip on the country's political landscape. That moment still hovers like an unclosed parenthesis in Cameroon's history. Of course it's unclosed. Who was claimed to be behind the attempt? Right? Hold on. And now we're getting to the nitty gritty. This is just to show that things happen. History is being written. And when history is being written and things happen in history, you need to learn from history if you don't want it to repeat itself at your expense, right? So you have to be a student of history. So maybe this is your answer for why the government wants to take control of those weapons. Maybe this is your answer. But let's dig even deeper, right? Who was claimed to be behind the attempt? Okay, the official story from Biya's government pointed its fingers straight at one familiar shadow, Amadou Ahidjo, Cameroon's former president, who had handed power to Biya only 2 years earlier. Okay, so we're gonna stop there. I mean, he's going to tell us why the operational arm. Okay, so you know what? Yeah, let's read it. It's not that big, right? So here's how the narrative, and obviously that makes total sense. I mean, nobody is going to argue that the shadow of Ahidjo was behind it, but behind it by itself, this is something else, and that's why I asked that question, right? So here is how the narrative was framed at the time. The accused mastermind, Ahidjo, living in exile in Senegal, was accused of pulling the strings. The regime claimed he still held deep loyalty within the presidential guard, which had been dominated by Northerners from his era. They said he wanted to reclaim the throne he had graciously left behind to Biya in 1984. And when we pointing the finger at Northerners, people from the North, right? You need to understand something now. This guy, right? He just told you that there's different factions, kind of Northwest faction, the Northerners and all that. So he's making already a difference between Cameroonians and wants to put that cleavage, like I told earlier, he wants to make it deep so that we can, identify the target, the people that needs to be erased. That's my understanding. And when I read this, what ChatGPT is telling us, right? I'm saying that here we go again. It's getting pretty clear. While I'm telling you today that people of all walks of life are unsatisfied or are ready to choose continuity. Mixed. There's no specific ethnic, region, whatever, what have you. People from all walks of life. The operational arm, element of the presidential guard, many of them had been unhappy with Biya's earlier purge of Ahidjo's era loyalists. The April, like what would you be unhappy? I understand that you could be unhappy, but when you got a new CEO who's coming in an enterprise, when you have a new president that is coming into office, for sure he's going to bring his people. He's going to make his own cabinet, choose his ministers, even go as far as choosing the federal judges and all that stuff, right? Of course, the April 1984 coup was officially blamed on these officers who, according to the government, acted in coordination with Aijo. Aijo response, he denied everything from exile. He rejected the accusation, saying he had no role in the events. Of course. The political reality behind the curtains. Whether Aijo actually planned the coup or whether he rift between the North and the South merely exploded on its own remains debate amongst historians. But Biya's government capitalized on the moment to cement a narrative. The old lion tried to take back the forest, which is what happened. Which is what happened. So now I was asking, like, where was Aijo in exile? Well, he was in exile in Senegal, right? Actually, they mentioned it before. And I wasn't satisfied with the answer, right? Because I know my kind of my history, and I was on, and I knew what actually was said behind the curtain, right? Uh, behind the official reason why that happened. And this is where I say it's very important. And this is why I say that I know what I'm talking about when I'm telling you that all these influencers, all these guys who are dropping that propaganda to have you kill your own brothers and sisters, blood, right? It's not organic. It's organized. It's propaganda, right? I'm telling you because I work in that field. I'm telling you. And when you use Chat GPT, you shouldn't take things that Chat GPT give you at face value. You need to be kind of also an expert in what you're doing, because there's a lot of time where or is going to give you wrong information, or is going to give you a partial information, right? And in this case, it kind of give us partial information. So I asked them, right? Wasn't there rumors that France was behind it as well? Yes, those rumors swirled like harmonic and dust. In Cameroonian political memory, the 1984 coup attempt has two layers: the official tale and the whispered one carried in taxis, bars, and quiet living rooms. France sits squarely in the second layer. So here we go here, because we always have an official version, right? And the secondary version, the one that is behind the curtain, usually people call it what conspiracy. And the thing is that those conspiracies, when we're talking about COVID, we're talking about JFK, we're talking about, often appear to be true, and even more in that case, because man, those guys thinks that they so much own that our country that they said it in the open anyway. So it's kind of something that is known by everyone, but that is not talked. So here's the shape of the rumor, without dressing it up and established as an established fact. Of course, because it's a conspiracy, right? So the France-Afrique theory. Some Cameroonians believe France wasn't thrilled with Biya's earlier attempt to distance himself from the old Aijo network and assert more autonomy. Man, brothers, I mean, you also, please, you have to listen. You have to listen to the words that are being spoken, and to kind of the heartbeat, the soul of what is coming out from ChatGPT, right? Here, what he's telling us is that Aijo didn't want to be the puppet of the French like Aijo was before. Some Cameroonians believe that France wasn't thrilled with Biya's earlier attempt to distance himself from the old Aijo network and assert more autonomy. They were against Cameroonian autonomy. Aidjo was Paris' trusted partner for 2 decades. Biya felt more like a new pitch that France had not fully annotated. Suspicion around elite units. The presidential guard, which spearheaded to the coup attempt, had been trained and structured under Aidjo with heavy French influence, right? And by the way, that alone was enough for the rumor mill to start grinding. So you understand when we're talking about weapon, when we're talking about training, people having training and being intermingled with outside nefarious influence. This is the case here, right? You have to learn from history, especially when you have intelligence like the actual government must have, that something is shady is happening in the background, right? Cold silence from Paris. During and after the coup, French officials acted with a strangely neutral calm. No immediate enthusiastic support for Biya, no thunderous condemnation of the coup plotters. That neutrality added full fuel to the idea that France was at least comfortable with the attempt, if not involved. And that is pretty interesting because we kind of see some type of similarity right now, right? Where you see friends that are worried about the situation that is happening, about the elections being stolen or fake or something like that, right? We see that French people, that the French government are not, are there. They're looking. They are taking a position that is not a position that is in favor, to be blunt, of the current government. You see all these French politicians coming out saying, okay, we have a dictator, his name is da da da. It's trying to making jokes. Like the discourse of what his name is, Mélenchon, saying that the dictator is there. Well, I understand that the French governments of the past and present are trying to dictate and tell African nation what they have to do. Stop there, and understand that this is a big problem. That when you're calling someone from another country a dictator, that you're saying to him that he's treating his treating his population, and that at the same time you are saying that the French government are involved and are dictating the things that are happening in that country, whether it is economically or external policy or internal policies. I think that you have, in my opinion, a big chunk of the answer here, right? You have a big chunk of the answer. So what you should concentrate on, Mélenchon, is actually fight your own government and make sure that your government deal with African countries, and especially Cameroon, from equal to equal. Nothing else. That's my answer. Okay, so once this has been said, let's continue. Because really, boys, I'm just getting started. I'm getting warmed up. I don't know how long that video is going to last, but I don't care. I just have to empty my tank. That's it. Because when I hear fools like this guy, right? Not Mélenchon, but the guy that I just let you hear the video here. Man, my blood boils. My hair just raised. I'm going crazy of the foolishness and the ignorance of that speech that they're talking about. I don't know. It gets to me. Because life are at stake. Cameroonian lives are at stake. strategic interests. Cameroon's stability, resources, and geopolitical position made it a prize chessboard. A prize chessboard. They know that we have resources. They know that our country on the ground has resources and is rich. Okay? In that era, many believe France preferred a leader they fully understood rather than a leader who might redraw the board. Right? Still to be clear, there is no hard evidence that France organized or materially supported 1984 coup attempt. It stays in the realm of political folklore, competing analysis, and the long shadow of France-Afrique reputation. Okay, so this for you. This is for you. This is for you, my man. This is for you, my man. A little step in history in history lane, just to tell you that when you know history and you know what happened and you know the people that are really playing for the other team, right? You shouldn't let them even one finger, one toenail into your internal affairs. And you shouldn't be owing them something when you're calling for them to come help, or you're saying that this president or this government is really, this government is ill treating its population. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. The first thing is that you have to tell the truth. Even if you tell what you think, when you tell what you think, don't forget, please give the right context. Give the context of people that are trying to free the country and people that are trying to free the country and other people that are trying to sell it out. Like, I do believe that I told you guys, man, there's another video that I did, and there's always my phone is at one point ringing when I'm right into it, and it's getting me kind of out of it, but it's okay. We're gonna let it ring and we're gonna continue our conversation. So that's what happened. So this guy, what I'm gonna tell him is that please don't hesitate. Go down memory lane, learn a little bit more, try to understand the interaction and the politics and all that stuff, nation between nation and what nation impact what in other countries and what in how does the impact materialize and impact the population of those countries. You need to do that before asking for Cameroonians to go kill each other in the streets. For the benefits of who, really? For the benefits of who? When you're talking about genocide, you're talking about ethnic cleansing. Do you even know what you're talking about when you're talking about genocide? I told you, people from the same family have different positions. The same family, and you're talking about genocide someone. What are you talking about? Ethnic cleansing? Who? Genociding who? Genocide is trying to destroy a nation in whole or in part. A cultural, a culture, a nation, a religious group. This is what genocide is. And how can you commit a genocide when it's your own people? Do you understand? Do you even understand what I mean? It's not, okay, he's committing genocide against the northerners, or the people from the south, or the people from the east, or the people from the west. Like I told you, it's an amalgam of people that are against or that are for continuity. What are you talking about when you're talking ethnic cleansing? Where and how? Like the government is going to leave by itself. Like Paul Biya is going to stay in Etuji and then kick all the 36 million Cameroonian out of the country and remain with his family. That would be genocide. That would be ethnic cleansing. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. That's how genocide is. Otherwise, what are you talking about when you're talking about genocide and ethnic cleansing? Damn, this gets to me. This ignorance. Still, to be clear, like he said, there is no evidence France organized a material support in 1984. It stays in the realm of political folklore, competing analysis, and the long shadow of France-Afrique reputation, right? And then I went one step further because you need to remain with me. I told you, don't move, don't go anywhere. Actually, please don't forget to click like and all that because we're right in the thick of it, brothers. And I'm going to teach today. I'm teaching today, right? I'm teaching today. You wanted to talk, we're going to talk. You wanted to talk, we're going to talk. Right? So I'm just getting started. I'm getting warmed up. I'm getting warmed up. You took me there. You took me there. Wanting to kill my own brother? Wanting to kill my own sisters? Wanting to kill my countrymen? For the benefit outside people? Okay. What are you talking about here? Get out of here. But no matter how you dress it, it can be all of them at the same time as they are clearly linked, right? You're touching a real heartbeat of African politic history. The space where official narrative, personal ambitions, and foreign fingerprints overlap like three shadows on the same wall. And yes, it's absolutely possible that all three forces coexist, intertwined, or at least nudge each other in ways that were never written on paper. Think of 1984 not as a single plot, but as a collision of a collision of currents, right? Ijo Long Shadow. He had loyalists everywhere, especially in the presidential guard. His resignation never severed those bounds. Even in exile, his name carried weight. Whether he said the word or not, some men might have acted for him, in his name or in memory of him. Internal fracture in Cameroon. Biya was reshaping the political landscape. He was shifting power away from Ijo northern base, reorganizing the military, tightening his circle. That created resentment. Resentment is combustible. You don't need an external match. Internal heat is enough at that point. France's ambiguous posture. Paris didn't need to orchestrate a coup to influence one. Sometimes all it takes is a phone call not returned, a warning whispered too late, military advisors who observe, intelligence briefing that say it that stays in drawers. In France Afrique playbook, no intervention can be its own kind of intervention, right? So yes, the possibility that these layers overlaps is not far-fetched at all. The coup attempt might have been a spark for a presidential presidential guard. I'm going to be able to say it, don't worry. Fueled by loyalists to Aijo, tolerated or quietly leveraged by France, and amplified by Biya's own political transformation. History rarely moves in straight lines. It wriggles, braids itself, and leaves fingerprints half faded. So here I'm asking him, right? What I'm asking him. Okay, you forgot to say that at the same time, he was governing in a way that didn't please France, and also that Aijo still had close ties with France. That's what I'm talking about when I said clear links between the three theories and actually could only be one theory. So what I'm telling him basically is that he gives us three theories, like these three theories of what happened in '84 was distinct, right, and separated from each other. Aijo, Biya, and Aijo, the loyalist, and France intervention, right? But what I'm telling him is that could there be that actually they were only making one all of them, right, instead of being three different theory, but that they were actually making one event and one theory, right, one body. So here is the answer. You're spotting the connective tissue that many historians tiptoe around. Those three separate theories don't sit in three neat boxes. They lean on each other like three pillars holding up the same uneasy roof. Let's stitch the picture together the way it actually feels on the ground. Okay? Let's stitch the picture together the way it actually felt on the ground, not in sanitized boxes. You guys speak English, so I don't have to explain to you what this means, right? Biya's early governance irritated France. And again, right, I told you about the Republican and the Democrat. It's not for nothing that those guys are internally like enemies, the greatest enemies possible. But that they realized that at the end of the day, they had to fight a greater enemy that was actually impacting both of them and the population. Right? Remember that I told you that, and I didn't tell you that for nothing. So when you read this and you understand this, right, and I'm telling you, I'm reading to you what ChatGPT is kicking out, you need to make the relation between everything that I'm telling you, because today I told you I'm going to preach and I'm going to teach. And to do that, I need an audience that listens. He tried to recenter decision making in Yaoundé instead of Paris. Okay. He tried to recenter decision making in Yaoundé instead of in Paris. That's what those Americans try to do. They try to recenter decision to be made by America in America instead of Tel Aviv in Israel. So I'm saying he wanted a system that listened less to the old Franc-Afrique pipeline. He moved slowly, but the direction was unmistakable. Okay? He moved slowly, but the direction was unmistakable. Paris noticed. Paris always noticed. Aïdjo still deep personal ties to France. 2 decades of rule under his hand had created comfortable channels, political, military, economic. French officials knew him, trusted him, understood him. Some of them likely wished the transition had never happened. Even from exile, Aïdjo was not a forgotten relic. He was a familiar voice on the old line. The northern power base felt cut off. Those officers, officially within the presidential guard, were Aïdjo's children. Their carry status and identity were tied to his era. When Biya started shifting gravity southward, they felt the temperature rising under their feet. Now, place these three realities on the same table. They don't contradict each other. They overlap so tightly that they almost form a single storyline. France liked Aïdjo more than Biya. Aïdjo loyalists were angry and armed. Biya's political moves created sparks. France was unusually slow and cold when the coup broke out. Aïdjo denied involvement, but his fingerprints were still on the actor's structure, the grievances. In other words, the three theories aren't competing. They behaved like three branches from the same root system, from the same tree. Not necessarily one conspiracy, but one ecosystem of interest, each reinforcing the condition for the coup. Okay, so you understand what I'm talking about here. And remember that this guy is trying to make that cleavage. Again, you need to understand when you're listening to those guys, because I'm going to repeat it, and I know it's going to bug you, it's going to bother you, and it's going to bore you, but I'm going to repeat it. Change, yes, but for the right reason. People in the street, yes, but by the people, for the right reason. Blood, it can happen, can spill in the street, but it has to be internal, for the right reason, not based on lies, and not to the benefit of external nefarious implications or influence. That's why I'm telling you that, right? And this guy, what he's telling us is that, okay, He's trying to push like all the people. Actually, he's trying to create that divide. He's trying to say that, yeah, all the people from the north, that's against you, that the regime is against. You see, the regime is against you. You better rise up. The Bamileke, he's identifying certain people that, man, you should understand that you're in this shit stuff, and you need to rebel right now. Otherwise, like he says, you're stupid, you're fools. That's what he's telling you. He's trying to divide the people to conquer, like oppressors do, to conquer. Okay, that's what bugs me, and that's why I keep coming back here when I don't want to come back here. That's why I'm coming back here. Leave me in peace, man. And like, stop putting all these lies out there. Because they don't make sense. They don't make sense. You're saying that people are going to kill their own brothers? And your Chiroma is coming, is out there? 48 hours ultimatum? Other than that, people, take your weapons, take any means necessary, do whatever, which is basically civil war, blood spilling, and go to the do. While this chump is sitting somewhere, I don't know where, not in Cameroon, sending other people, children, mother, brothers, sisters, fathers, to go put their life on the line. Come on, man. What the fuck is this? Sorry. In other words, the three theories, etc. Guys, I'm telling you, don't stop. Maybe you need to calm me down. Go type some messages. Send me some aspirin, some Tylenol, something like that, so that I can calm down. All right. When did the okay? So now okay. Yeah, we going one step further, guys. But we're not going to go too deep into it, right? But we're going to go one step further, and we're going to try to understand something here, because people are blaming our government. Look, what you've seen in the comments here, in the discussion that I had with ChatGPT, you've seen that Bia from the records, right? From the records, didn't have a policy that pleased the outside world, like the colonials, right? He didn't have that type of DNA that was to follow blindly what these people wanted, because he was a smart guy and he knew what was going on. He knew what time it was. Unlike this dude here, this fool here, who's selling out, right? He knew what time it was. So he wanted to do his thing, right? Which was going on the direction of sovereignty, and not on the direction of neocolonialism that France wanted. They wanted a puppet that would do their dirty thing, dirty bidding. No matter what the population, no matter what the impact on the population, the population could die, crawl on the street, fight each other. Who cares? They didn't care. They didn't care. It's today that Mélenchon is worried about like 43 years in power. It's today. People in Cameroon have been like hard shit, not from today. So I'm going to tell you what these guys did. Right? Maybe that's going to be interesting. I'm going to tell you what these guys did. And one big step that really, you're saying corruption. I get it. But listen to this. When you're calling for the international community, those who like democracy, which is actually another tool. I mean, in what You know, the democracy is basically a tool for the foreign countries to control Africa, right? Democracy, you're always going to find someone who's against something, then you prop him up, and then, okay, you have a revolution, you have a dissension, you have a group that you can say, oh, they're exterminated, they're this. I mean, democracy is just a tool for other countries, right? Right? That's what democracy is for them. For them, in regards to all countries. For them, they have pretty solid democracies. But for us, our democracy for them is a tool to control our countries. Right? Because they cannot now, yes, they do it sometimes, because they cannot now like just start like killing people right, left, center, like live on TV, where they're not satisfied about them, where they're not satisfied, and that they're not following the direction of the puppet masters, the colonials. Yeah, it is what it is. So I'm going to tell you what your people, the people that you want to sell the country to, I'm going to tell you what these guys are doing and did to our country, that I guess was because of Bia. I guess because was because and that I guess really helped a lot Cameroonians to get out of the slump, the economic slump that they were in. I'm gonna show you. So let's talk. Here's the question that I asked ChatGPT. When did the devaluation of the CFA franc happen? Okay, so he says the big earthquake came in January 1994. That's when the CFA franc was abruptly devalued 50%. You understand what I'm talking about? 50% devaluation of the CFA franc. And I remember that. I was alive. I was born. I lived that history. I lived that pain. I went through it. And I heard people grind. I heard people cry. People died. Physically, people, bodies, and economically, industries killed, died, suicides. What are you talking about when you're talking about corruption? Of course there's corruptions. There's corruption in Cameroon, rampant. And we have to stop it. There's corruption in France. There's corruption in the United States, big one. Even maybe more than in Cameroon. But they have buildings. They have roads. They have an economy that is, like they say, thriving, but they have debts as well. But they have an economy, they have industries and everything. Right? They have all this stuff. Corruption did not prevent them from achieving certain things, because they have kind of a strong economy, money's flowing, and they somehow, some way, through that corruption, are kind of able to get by and to get things done. Yes. Devaluation of 50%, turning savings into sand overnight across Cameroon, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Gabon, and the rest of the CFA zone. Turning savings into sand. Do you understand what they're saying here? When they're telling you that they turned saving into sand, that if you have 100,000 franc, outside it's worth 50,000. Things that you import cost you double. Do you understand that? When you're talking that there's corruption, that this government is not doing this and that, Yeah, I'll give you a rock thrower like or an arbalete, right? And I tell you, go fight those guys with M16 and tanks and F-15s. Yeah, go fight them. Right? How come you're not going to fight? What's up? Well, it's the same thing I'm telling you now. You used to have tanks. You used to have this. Now you have just what? You have a rock thrower or an arbalete, right? And you wonder why you're not as efficient as you used to be. We're talking about 50% turning 7 into sand, 1994. Overnight. Overnight. One day the currency stood at proudly 1 CFA to a certain level of French franc. Again, I'm telling you, I was there. I was there when he was like this. That was nice. And I was there when they cut it off in half. The next morning, like someone had flipped the switch in Paris, and the entire region felt its knees buckle. Okay? Okay. You heard that. They flipped the switch in Paris, and the entire region fell to its knees. And I mean, for you who's asking French people, who's asking the United States and all these guys to come and help us because they have a good heart, they believe in democracy and human rights. Do you know how many people died that day, the following year, the following years until now? Do you know how our economy has suffered from that day, the next year until now? And do you know how it continues to suffer, like I'm saying? Do you know that? You don't know that. But you're calling on these people to come and help you and save you. Like if people didn't die because of these policies, because of these criminal financial activities and decisions. Once again, I'm asking you, what are you talking about? But I'm going to ask you even more. Who are you serving? Who are you serving? You and Chiroma, who are you guys serving? The people of Cameroon or the people of France? The children of Cameroon or the people of the United Kingdom? Your nation? Oh, I'm not even going to say your nation. I'm going to precise the nation of Cameroon, of the United States. Let us know, because right now the line is pretty blurry. And I do believe that my questions are legitimate. If you go down memory lanes, that you seem to forget, and you think this, you seem to think that Cameroon was born and created today. What the hell? Well, are we all fools? Are you taking people for fools? This can't be. This can't be. This. I mean, you cannot make this shit up, man. So much that what you're doing, I don't think that you're that, man. I mean, you're not a fool. You cannot be that stupid, to be honest with you. You cannot. So if you're not, it means that you're doing this on purpose. As simple as that. On design, knowing full well what is the real situation, but you're just spilling this out because you have an objective, you have a design. I get it. So let's go next. What is he telling us here? Okay, if you'd like, okay, people woke up poorer. Okay, buckle to your knees. I almost forget to, and this is a pretty important paragraph. People woke up poorer than they had gone to bed. Okay, you have like 5 million in the bank, and the next morning, bang, you have nothing. Salaries shrank without shrinking. Markets folded into a tense quiet. Government preached patience while citizens recalculate their lives in real time. If you like, I can talk. I can walk you through why it happened, who pushed for it, and how France and the IMF shaped the decision and what it did to Cameroon's economy. Before I get to this, right, because I asked him to, yeah, please do tell us. Before I'm going to come back again to, man, you need to know when you're talking, when we are exchanging with ChatGPT, you need to kind of know your stuff a little bit, because what he's going to give you as an answer, sometimes, like I say, he might forget things, he might omit things, he might give you like the answer that the political the political answer, but you need to ask him from time to time to dig deeper, right? And this is what you're going to see as an example, because it's going to be pretty interesting for you, right? Here's the story of the 1994 CFA franc devaluation, laid out with clarity but animated with the texture it deserves. It wasn't just an economic event, it was a tectonic shift disguised as a currency decision. Okay, disguised as a currency. Where it happened, the pressure cooker. Okay, through the last 1980s, and I mean, that's the official decision, like I'm telling you, right? He's giving us the official decision, right? Knowing full well that there's other things in there, but he's giving you the official decision, the official reason. Okay, through the late 1980s and the early 1990s, the reason that the people who operated this change or these devaluations are giving, right, as an excuse to actually do that devaluation. And I guess the excuse was to help us, because we needed help. We needed saving, like today, like you're claiming that we need saving now. Oh, so let's do something, right? Let's ask those guys to help us get out again of that critical situation, right? So here's what they did, right? So through the late 1980s and early 1990s, most CFA zone economics were sinking into a slow, stubborn economy drought. Oh, so he's telling us that we had problems. CFA zone economy was shrinking, going down, and we were drowning. Okay, commodity prices collapsed. Cameroon oil revenue, Cote d'Ivoire cocoa and coffee combined, Gabon's magnesium, Senegal, all fell like dominoes. Export income dried up. Okay, budget deficit ballooned. Government was spending more than they were earning, relying on external borrowing to plug holes. Debt piled up like unwashed laundry. The IMF and the World Bank were getting nervous. The region was heading for a wall. The CFA franc was too strong. The CFA franc was too strong. The CFA franc was too strong. And you already, if you're intelligent and if you can contextualize, right, you already see that these two paragraphs here, I mean, up to here, it doesn't make sense. Okay, it was pegged tightly to the French franc at a rate that no longer reflected economic reality. I mean, their problem was that maybe the export was getting too heavy for them, and that they were giving too much money to the African country. Maybe that was it, right? Maybe that's what was happening, I would say. It was export were too expensive. Here we go. Export was too expensive. Import too cheap, right? Meaning that, oh, we weren't paying enough, right? We weren't paying enough, and we were getting too much money. That's a thing. I mean, that could be a good reason, right? And local industries were suffocating. Imagine trying to swim with the concrete shoes that was the CFA zone before 1984. So we were the problem. They were not the problem. They were complaining about like spending too much money to buy our stuff, right? And they were complaining that we weren't paying enough to buy their stuff. That's amazing. But right? It's our economy, the franc zone, the CFA zone that was that was swimming with concrete shoes. That's why I'm telling you guys, when you discuss with ChatGPT, you have to be critical. You need to have a critical mind. It's the same thing when you're listening to those guys. You need to have a critical mind because they are going to take you on a ride. Am I clear? They are going to take you on a ride. Let's continue, right? Who pushed for it? France and the IMF and Le Club des Décideurs. That's a nice name. Although West and Central Africa leaders were formally involved, the real engine of the decision, the real engine, man, I don't understand what's going on, man. The real engine of the decision were France. Paris was the guardian of the CFA franc for years. It resisted devaluating because it didn't want to want instability in its old précaré. You just want to say in its old policies. Yeah, and he just meant to say that okay, the fact not devaluating the CFA franc was actually impacting them, their economy. That's what he means, right? But in the early 90s, French technocrats were convinced the system was collapsing from within. What system was collapsing from within? Your system was collapsing from within. Because at the end of the day, you didn't want to buy stuff from us at a price that we wanted to sell it to you. We were selling it, and you wanted us to give you more money. So you wanted us to bring money to your windmill, and at the opposite, you didn't want to give us anything. On the other words, right? Let's be honest about it. Let's be blunt about it. So the IMF, World Bank, right? They pressed relentlessly for structural adjustment. Their medicine was bitter: devaluation, austerity, privatization, and the removal of subsidies. In their eyes, devaluation was necessary to fix export competitiveness, right? They were worried about us. They were worried about our economy, right? And it's these people that you want to that you want to sold us out to. Come on, boy. Come on, man. What are you talking about? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? African presidents reluctantly, they didn't want that. Most leaders resisted. No president wants to be remembered as the one who cut his people wealth in half. You understand that? But by late 1993, they were cornered. The decision was realized quietly in Dakar, then delivered publicly on 11 January 1994. How it hit ordinary people. Now, let's see how it hit ordinary people. We're talking about corruption. We're talking about oh yeah, we don't have industries, our economy and all that shit, right? We're talking about that. Fair. We're talking about it's fair. But like I say, give us the context. Don't just act like, oh, all of a sudden, or that it's because of this, because of that, the president or what. Give us the context. And this is one piece of the puzzle. There's other pieces, but this is one of them. The announcement felt like a punch thrown at midnight. Prices of import goods doubled, salaries stayed the same, savings lost half of their values, middle class families slide into poverty. And this is important when we're talking about like middle class families sliding into poverty. You need to understand that the backbone of an economy is its middle class. It's not these billionaires and millionaires and all that stuff, right? It's the middle class. If you don't have a middle class, you're in trouble. You are in big trouble. So when overnight your middle class goes from this, right here, to there, you have a problem. And this is what happened overnight. We're talking about urban unrest. In Douala and Yaoundé, the market mood changed instantly. Of course, a bag of rice suddenly felt heavier than its price tag. It's crazy. The franc in your pocket looked the same, but somehow tasted thinner. For many households, 1994 became a reference point, a scare year. how it shaped Cameroon's political and social landscape. The devaluation didn't happen in a vacuum. It landed in Cameroon already bruised by economic decline and patati and patata. So it didn't help. It did not help. Let's keep reading this quickly, and we go to the next one. Stay with me. Did it work? Economically, the devaluation had mixed result. Export rose again. Timber, cocoa, oil. Some economy regained growth. Poverty increased sharply. Purchasing power was crushed for years. Power was crushed for years. Inequality widened. See what we have today. If that's not what we have today, right? Okay, you get it, right? You get it. Economic devaluation. Okay, export rose, and that's one is funny because it's green. It's green. Export rose. They cut our prices in half. Of course, they're going to buy more. Of course, but what benefit is it going to do to us? The benefit is going to be theirs because it doesn't improve. It doesn't put more money in our bank or in our wallet. Now, let me go and finish through this quickly. And the bigger picture, the 1994 devaluation is one of the clearest proof point that France still had overwhelming control over CFA zone monetary policy. The IMF orthodoxy could reshape entire society with one signature. Okay, African leaders even went present were passengers more than drivers. So what I'm telling you is that when we're talking about Pan-Africanism, you guys need to understand that that's the only way. That's the only way, right? We just have to decide what shape it's going to take. But Pan-Africanism is the only way, right? We need to take care of our business. We shouldn't rely on external people, external countries to come and do the things for us. We need to rely on ourselves and protect our sovereignty, economic and political, right? It remains a ghost in debates about monetary independence, the eco currency, and whether Francophone Africa can rewrite its economy destiny without repeating historical dress in new suit. What are you talking about, rewrite? Come on, man. Oh, man. If you want, I can walk you through. No. I didn't want that. I just asked him to kind of come again on certain things here. What did I ask him? Okay, because I don't understand how that makes any sense. Everything that you said. I mean, some of the things make sense, right? But he was putting this kind of in a lens that, okay, it was for the benefit of the African nations that they devaluated the franc because they were in an economic slump and that everything was going wrong. So they decided to devaluate the franc, the CFA franc, to help us rebuild our economy, which is totally obscene to think that. But if you don't know your stuff, if you don't know your history, like this guy that was talking earlier, right? You would say, "Oh, okay, I understand. They wanted to help us. I know they kind of missed, but their intention was legit. Their intention was good." What the hell, boy? Come on. So I told him, and again, I told you need to know your stuff because ChatGPT is going to throw you some curves sometime, and you're just going to say, okay, you're going to swallow it, and you're going to say, like what's his name says, that's good. Give me more. I want more, right? Dieudonné says, right? So I don't understand how that makes any sense because if the CFA remains the same, export have more values, country have more money, they can pay back the loans. But if they evaluate 50% hard to pay back, exporting brings less money, putting the country in problems. While the one who are profiting are the one that are export to Cameroon or import from Cameroon. And you are saying that this was done to help us. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, then he says, yeah, because that's kind of the lens and the angle that we was taking, right? So I'm just challenging like I'm challenging you. And I think, guys, it's very important to be critical again and to challenge. and to understand what's going on and to listen, because listening is the first step of everything. Right, you need to listen and understand it, not just look at his lips moving and oh, he looks like a nice guy, or the music sound well, the tone that he's taking is. No, you need to understand the words that he's saying. Criminal. That's what you need to understand, the words he's saying. So let's break. So he's asking me now, let's break this not gently and clearly, because your confusion is valid. Remember that words that he's using here when he's saying that I'm confused, right? Because himself, he's going to do kind of a 180 at the end, right? And many Africans have asked the same question since 1994. The official explanation and the real consequences don't sit in the same chair, right? Many people, many critical minds have asked that question, which makes sense. But this guy is telling me confusion is valid. And I'm just going to do a little parenthesis. That's why I'm saying that Cameroon should work on its own AI. It cannot use AI that is created by China, the United States, France, and all that. Because at the end of the day, this could be propaganda tools that are going to shape how people think, because people think that they know everything and they always give you the right answer and the right thing. This is not true. This is the same thing that I always advocate about, like data centers, right? About ISPs, right? We need to control our own stuff, numerical stuff, especially when it's linked to countries' security. You cannot have data center the information of your all your population in another country. Because you're letting yourself like open for different type of stuff. That was a little parenthesis. Okay, so let's get back to our stuff and answer to this guy. Okay, so he's telling us that the official explanation and real consequences don't sit in the same chair. True. The first truth, devaluations did not help us. It did not help us, right? It helped some actors, but African population were not the beneficiary. Your instinct is right. Remember that he said I'm confusing, right? What the IMF friends called reform was, in practice, a reset that protected creditors, exporters, and the French economy sphere far more than it protected African household. Okay, very important. Again, this is not for the benefit of the people. They didn't give a shit. Like France didn't give a shit about this, right? People died following those decisions. People got poor, didn't know what to do, didn't have any more savings that they spent an entire life working hard saving. All that overnight went down the drain. You want us to get back to that. Let's continue. Now let's clean up the logic. Why export too expensive before devaluation? This sounds strange at first, so here's the real mechanics. When the CFA is strong, meaning its exchange rate is high, a Cameroonian exporter sells cocoa in dollar or francs, but when they convert the money back home, they get fewer CFA franc. Right? Example simplified. Before the devaluation, okay, 1 franc 50 CFA, and so if you earn 1,000 French franc from export, hold on a minute, guys. Just going to check out something because I might have asked him another question here. No, okay, we're good, okay? Okay, let's go, let's continue. Man, I'm on a roll, but it's your pain is almost over, so bear with me just a few more minutes. Okay, so if you earn a 1,000 franc from export, you brought home 50,000 CFA. Okay, after devaluation, new rate 1 franc is 100 franc CFA franc, and the same 1 franc 1 French franc now brings 100,000 francs, meaning exporters earn more CFA after devaluation, which encourage economy. What the freaking are they telling us, right? They're telling us basically that basically it's a shadowing thing. It's an illusion. It's a magic trick that they kind of trying to give us here, saying that, giving us the illusion that when we sell our stuff, that basically by devaluating the money, we get more export, and we have the impression to get more money, because when you do the exchange, right, instead of having 50 CFA franc, you have 50,000 CFA franc. But what good is it to us if when we import now the finished good, like it was the case, right, it cost us double? So it's an internal illusion, because the main thing is for this external guy, because there's an economy outside. So it's like how do you say that, it's like we are pimple, we are another growth, we are what that we're living off of friends, basically, right? That these guys are living in the real world, their economy is dealing with other country on the one-to-one respect basis, economic basis. But us, they control our economy, and we are a tool for them to regulate their economy, to regulate the position of their economy in the world, not caring about how it's being felt by our population, whether our population lives well, whether our population lives bad, or whether our population is simply dying. They don't give a freaking fucking rock. They don't care. Fact. I mean, this is not like blah blah. No, this is fact. They don't care, because we've been dying because of their decision for a very long time. A very, very long time. So sometimes when I hear this, those guys like talking, wanting to bring us back to that, saying even in comments, oh, I prefer the colonial. Well, you like, I prefer the colonial thing, which is where these guys want to bring us back. I'm saying that, do you know? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you really know what you're talking about? Again, guys, I'm asking you to revert to you from for my example about Republican and Democrats, rival enemies killing each other internally in the United States, and now they realize that no, it's not again. We shouldn't fight against each other. It's against these guys that we need to fight, because that's where the fight is at. If we really want to get better, that's where the fight is at. And that's behind that fight that we all have to unite to kick them out and make them understand that we don't want them to mingle anymore in our businesses. That now we're going to negotiate nation to nation with respect, as equal, not as a colonizer and as a colonized. This is ridiculous. And this mindset that you see these people have is that mindset that wants to bring us back in the fold and tell us that you ain't going anywhere. You are going to keep suffering. You are going to keep dying. And we will get to that no matter what. I give you 48-hour ultimatum. All the blood is going to spill. All the blood is going to flow. No. No. We're saying no. I'm saying no. Not like that. Not like that. Again, change, okay. Not based on lie. Not by selling out our country to foreign interests that are going to give dick shit about us. I'm sorry about my language. Sorry about my French. But I'm telling it the way it is, like it is. Fact. Let's keep going. So when the currency is strong, exporters suffer. When it's weak, exporters thrive. Bull crap. What kind of exporter are we talking about? Right? Are we talking about, remember when you see that, think about exporters outside. Because for us, it's kind of not doing anything. Because at the end of the day, we're still at the same place. The only thing is that give us an illusion into a little bubble that is closed, that they've closed, that, okay, this is the reality. The economy has to be reshaped based on that reality. That's what we had to do. But what about imports? Here's the painful flip side. So already, first of all, it didn't help us for the export. It just meant that it's just an illusion that the export, yeah, in terms of quantity, there was more. In terms of revenue, well, not that much because it's been devaluated half. So these guys were paying half to get what they used to have for double. So tell us how it helped us. It didn't. Simple. If you're looking for the answer, I'm giving it to you right now. It did not help us. A weak currency makes all imports more expensive. Rice, fuel, spare parts doubled, medicine doubled, rice doubled, fuel doubled. These crushed ordinary people and small businesses across Cameroon, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire. So you have all businesses. When we're talking, we want businesses. We want to create this and that. That was a big problem, right? All businesses that people had, all the money, the savings that people had, was impacted by this criminal decision. Was impacted by this decision that benefited other people, other countries, other people from other countries. That's what it was, right? So the IMF and France were prioritizing African were prioritizing African consumer. Their priorities were boost export. What? The IMF and France were not. Okay, sorry guys. Oh man, I was kind of scared because I was saying that. Man, really? Are you really saying that? Like, am I dreaming or what? So yeah. So finally, I forgot the nut. The IMF and France were not prioritizing African consumer. They were prioritize their priorities were boost export competitiveness. They wanted Cameroon to export more oil, cocoa, timber, banana, not because Cameroon would get richer, but because debt could be paid faster. French companies relying on African raw material would benefit. Global investors wanted the country's productivity productive again. Well, this is again, I'm going to translate because I need to translate this, right? They wanted simply to get more of our resources for the same price. They wanted to get all our resources for the same price. So they cut the price of our resources in half. Is that good for you? Okay. Right? Their debt could be paid faster. Whose debt? This is interesting to ask. Whose debt could be paid faster? What are you talking about? Our debt could be paid faster. Maybe your debt could be paid faster as well. Right? French companies relying on African raw material would benefit, of course. Global investors wanted the country's productive again, of course. Right? Stabilize the CFA system. Okay, France saw the system cracking. Reserves were low. Too many countries were borrowing. The peg was becoming impossible to defend. Devaluation was a way to protect the system from collapsing, not a way to protect African family. Devaluation was a way to protect the system from collapsing, not a way to protect African families. Obviously, when you say the system, their system. Their system that was built for their benefit was not working because African countries were starting to get in that mood of autonomy and sovereignty where they wanted to take this decision, economic and political decision, in their own hands. That's what their system was falling. So another way to protect African families, I'm telling you that again, protect the creditors. When currencies fall, government repay foreign loans in cheaper local currency, but they must sell more of their resources to do so. They must sell more of it. So they empty our basket. I mean, we Africa is the bread basket of the world, I would say, of one of them, and they just want to empty us, right? It forces the country to keep exporting raw material, not industrialize, meaning that raw material, our resources are exported. They make the final product, send it back to us, double the price, boom. So they get the resource half the price, and they sell us double the price. This is this is fantastic, and of course I'm pretty sure that people in the country, they're living swell, rich and famous, right? So it forces the country to keep exporting raw material, not industrialized. These benefit leaders and commodity buyers, not citizens, not citizens. The common point that you're going to see in there is that it did not benefit the citizen, right? It did not benefit the people of Cameroon. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker because I don't want it, guys, to be too long. Because I mean, we're going to beat on the same on the same drum. So listen, this is simple here. Otherwise, we're going to beat on the same drum, right? You kind of understand the message that I'm trying to send here. I'm pretty sure you do, because man, I've been insisting on that on that message. I'm just telling you again. My position here is that the people has to decide if they want to change or not. Right? I don't believe that they should do it on lies. I don't believe that calls for civil war or calls for to have the blood of a brother spilled should be done lightly. It shouldn't be done, first of all, because people themselves organically should come maybe and come in the street and be ready to put their life on the line naturally, not because someone is feeding them lies or calling them to do so, right? I don't believe in that. And especially when it's lies that are being propagated here, right? That's what I don't like. And especially when when people wants to send us back like 40 to 50 to 60 to 100 years to more than that back, so that we have to get down the hill and have to get again up the hill. It doesn't make sense. So guys, I'm telling you straight up, you need to listen to what those guys are saying, and to what anyone is saying, but especially when they asking you to spill blood, or when they started talk about genocide, when they started talking about big terms like ethnic cleansing. What does that has to do with anything? What? Tell me, what does it has to do with anything? And you need to contextualize, like I just showed you, that the situation we're here, when you're calling about like other countries like France or all these democratic countries, like we said, they believe in democracy and human right. What human right do they believe in? They're ready to let all our people die if we give them the resources that they want from us for free, all the rare earth and material and all that. Yes, they're ready to let our people die. They're ready to let our people get killed in the street. If tomorrow Paul Biya called Trump or called Macron and tells him like, yeah, here you go, here's our rare earth, take it. I'm telling you, they would let people die in the street like flies, not even lifting a finger. What are you talking about? Right? And you're calling on this country to come and help you? To come and help, like they come and help us? Again, selling out is not the thing I'm for, right? I'm for the people taking their decision in their own hands, taking their own future in their own hands. Like you've seen certain things. You've seen certain phrase that have been spoken. Like when I was exchanging with ChatGPT, like Bia wanted to have more autonomy, didn't want decision again to be taken in Paris, and that okay, the situation was evolving, was like. The cleavage between Cameroon and France was getting bigger. It was going slowly, right? But it was there. We wanted our sovereignty. And remember again what I told you about the Republican and the Democrat. It's very important, guys. It's very important because you have no idea. You have no idea how these two parties are diametrically opposite, how they hate each other to the death, so much to the death that there are killings, a lot of killings that are motivated because one is a Republican or one is a Democrat. But they realize that they actually have greater enemies to fight and that they needed to unite to fight these concerns, these enemies. Yeah? You get my point? My point being, it's very simple. If there's something that you cannot do, it's call on those countries. I told you that they are not working for us. They are not working for our people. That's the first thing that you need to do. Don't do that. The second thing that you need to make sure is that when you say that people are criminal and that they want to kill the population, make sure that your candidate, Chiroma, on his side is not asking for brothers and sisters to kill themselves. I told you already. In the same family. In the same family. Blood related. Blood related. Same mother, same father. One person can be for the continuity and one person can be for the change. What you're saying in trying to divide the people of Cameroon makes no sense at all. Again, I repeat, I will bend to the decision of the people for the right reason. For the right reason, not based on lie. What the hell? 25 years as a minister, having different ministries, and that's your savior. That's the one that you trust is going to work for us. 25 years. And 3 months from the elections, he realized, his own words, not mine, that the government was not working for the people. 25 years. And it's 3 months before the election that he said that the reason that he left the government was because he realized that the government was not working for the people. Who are you taking for fools? And you're asking us, and it's this guy that you're asking the people to go die for? And that you're asking other countries to support, like France, to bring us back to colonial, to bring us back to slavery? What's wrong with you? What do you want to, my question, what do you want to sell our country like that? Why? What do you want to to have a bloodbath in our country like that. What's going on with you? I don't know. Listen, guys, I could go forever, but I'm going to stop there. I'm going to ask you to make your own opinion on that, right? To give me some comments, to educate me or to get educated, because I do know that I don't have the truth, and definitely not. Let's say, people know history more than me, economics more than me, politics more than me. So I'm open to discussion. I'm open to be educated. I'm open to any comments that is going to come out. And again, I'm going to propose this. Right? I'm going to propose this. If there's two people there that want to have a debate, a sane debate, right, about continuity, the reason for continuity or the reason for change, I'll be happy to host it. I will be happy to host it. And I think that it will be beneficial to everybody. Okay? Because what I'm seeing here by Chioma doesn't make sense to me. And to see all these guys come out and try to now pressure and do that stuff and all that, this guy here that is trying to pressure, tell people what to do and that they have to do it because otherwise they're not, etc., kind of worries me. And it makes me also see that, man, these guys are looking like devils in the holy waters. Like they see that they were expecting more. You can feel it. They were expecting more. They were expecting more people out of the street. They were expecting more unrest. They were expecting more manifestation. They were expecting more noise. But they are not getting what they expect. You can see it. I mean, whether you're for or against, you can see it. So now they're all there. They're trying to pressure, say that militaries, now they say that they have this, that. There's a problem. There's a problem there. So please, guys, don't hesitate. Comment. Tell me if I'm making sense here, or if I'm not making sense, tell me why. In both cases, tell me why. And remember what I'm asking you. If there's two people that are ready to debate on for or against, let me know. I'll be more than happy. I will be hosting it. I will be hosting it. So, this being said now, guys, guys, relax. Go back to bed. Relax, take a coffee or take a beer or anything, to chill. And yeah, to chill. And don't forget, subscribe and like and share, especially share. Share that, right? Especially share. And I'll be talking to you on another occasion. And I will try to make this other occasion video. The video will be a lot shorter, okay? I'm going to take care of you guys. So I'm not going to, push it too much. I'm going to make the next video shorter. At least I'm going to try. So don't mark my words. I'm going to try. Okay, so you guys take care. And let's hope the best for the country. And especially that people are not going to be swayed into this or that based on lies. That's the only thing that I can hope for. Yes, that's the only thing I can say here. You guys take care, and yeah, the best for Cameroon. Bye, guys.